Okay. So I guess we're recording, and I'm back playing Steam on Linux, and I've got my HP G4 ProBook rocking a Core i5. I think it's a quad-core processor. Entire setup. I've added some RAM to it, added a hard drive. Um, and again, I don't think I have more than like $50 invested in this whole setup. If you want to count how much I've spent on games, it's more than that, but these games are playable on multiple systems. So, got a USB controller, and let's go ahead and play. So, Steam had this crazy sale on a bunch of I think it was specifically on the studio, on the Warner Brothers games, and they had a bunch of like Lego uh, Warner Brothers tie-ins, a combo. I don't know what you want to call that. Co-produced games, and Lego Batman was one of them, and they were all like super cheap. So I ended up buying a few of them, and it's playing on this older computer. I am hearing like a little bit of static. I don't know if that has that much to do with the hardware that I'm playing with, or the compatibility, or what have you, but it's playing. So I'm going to play a little bit of this, but I'm just wanting to let you know that you don't have to spend a ton of money to be able to game any longer. Like, yeah, if you want to be on the cutting edge, then maybe there is way more that you have to invest. But now that we have Steam, we've got Linux, which is free. My version of Linux that I'm running for the time being is Pop OS, and I have upgraded it so that I'm now running the Cosmic desktop. Initially, when I had it, it was running GNOME, which I'm not a fan of, but it gets the job done. But now I have Cosmic. Steam was, I don't know if Steam was pre-installed, but regardless if it was or not, it was very easy to set up. Got a controller that I purchased used from the one of the thrift stores we have around here is the Idaho Youth Ranch. So I got it for pretty cheap. It's modeled off of, I think at the time it was probably the Xbox 360 controller. So, and it's working. I didn't even have to set it up. All I had to do was download the game. And look at that. And I'm playing older hardware, minimum investment. This game, I want to say it was, I think it came bundled with another Lego title for like $7. So anyway, if you don't have to be on I think last time the term I used was like bleeding edge, the cutting edge, whatever the correct term is. If you don't have to be on gaming the moment gaming comes out, or what have you. I mean, there's so many titles to play these days. I'm just gonna play the older stuff for now. So we got the Joker in the helicopter. We got everybody sniffing up some laughing gas. Catwoman. Penguin. Riddler. Not super up on comic book villains or heroes, but I know some of the classics. Commissioner Gordon. Anyway, I don't have to go through all this. I'm just going to kind of fast forward and we're going to get into gameplay. So it's taking a little while to load. I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that I'm running Linux. Probably more that it's an older computer, but it's running. I don't know, guys. I'm gonna skip through this too. Hope you weren't really looking forward to all the cutscenes and everything. I'm not sure exactly how much of those I can play without commenting over it. So I'm, kind of running out of stuff to say. But actor Basil Carlo turned into the murderous Clayface, a creature of shape-shifting protoplasm. He now possesses incredible strength and can transform his clay-like body into any form. So we're going after Clayface today. I'll just skip the cutscenes. Sorry, guys. Just to show you that this is playable. Again, I'm pretty sure this is just a quad-core i5 on a laptop that I'm running in 2025 with it wasn't intended to be a gaming machine when they produced it, and it's got embedded graphics, so it doesn't have a graphics card, but it can do the job. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with the audio. I'm not sure exactly how much that has to do with the system that I'm gaming with. And all the resources are being shared. The video capabilities of this machine, it's embedded. So I'm sure along with me playing the game. Oh, let's see, which button do I use to activate that? Okay. With me playing the game and recording video at the same time, Batman can grapple, press B. This controller is modeled, looks like a 360 controller, but the buttons are the triangle, X, circle, and square. So I'm guessing that's B. Circle's B. Okay. Oh. Okay. Okay, I activated that. So let's see, can I stay on this ledge and get over to these other Legos? Oh, whoops. I did not mean to press that button. Oh. Okay. I disassembled that guy. Something there. Okay, so triangle is what hops me in and out of my bodies. Oh. Okay. But yeah, like obviously Steam is seems kind of a game changer if you're going to be playing, especially with these older titles. The nice thing is it kind of makes us less dependent on a lot of your traditional manufacturers and whatever price hikes they want to put us through. You can just go out and get Steam on your computer and start gaming. Even if you've got much older hardware that you're working on. Again, you're not going to be on the cutting edge of gaming. But hey, I haven't played through some of these titles, and there's thousands of them. So yeah, if you're willing to maybe spend a little bit of money, and of course, like, Linux is going to work on a lot of newer hardware as well, which is just going to be nice. The video card, if you want to call it that, the video capabilities of this computer are embedded. It's a GPU CPU combo, I guess you want to say. I guess all CPUs probably have some GPU capabilities. So that means it's got to run off of the RAM that I've installed in this computer. And at this point, I think I'm lucky enough that I've got a computer that's oh, I used the wrong button again. I'm lucky enough that I'm using a computer that's using DDR4 memory, so I can kind of combo memory. I'm not required to use the same capacity, which is what I've done with this computer. So I was able to find some. This guy's shooting at me. I was able to find somebody selling some, and it uses DDR4. So I was able to find somebody who was selling some DDR4 memory here locally. I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, I'll probably just pause it here. And he had a 16 gigabyte card, and I think he was selling it for like $20. DDR4 memory is like crazy expensive right now, so I felt kind of lucky. So I hurried over and bought it from him. And at that point, I had a 4 gigabyte and an 8 gigabyte card in this computer. So I had 12 gigabytes total. And again, this system has embedded graphics, so it doesn't have dedicated graphics memory, which means it shares system memory. So that 12 gigabytes of RAM that I had installed in this laptop at the time was being shared between the computer and whatever it had to do. So when I was recording videos and doing stuff on the computer, all that stuff was being done through the same RAM. And so and playing games as well. So I was able to get a 16 gigabyte card. This card has two SIM card slots. I took out the 8 gigabyte card because I didn't think I needed a whole lot more memory, and I could use that 8 gigabyte card in one of my other systems. So I removed that. I left the 4 gigabyte card in, and I replaced the 8 gigabyte card with a 16 gigabyte card. So it gave me a total combined of 20 gigabytes, which was way more than I was using before, because before I was using 12. So it gave me 8 gigabytes more of memory. And I'm hoping that that's going to help out tremendously. But this is an older processor, and the graphics capabilities are older and not quite as capable. It's not running the whole, I think, what they have now for GPUs and CPUs that share the resources or those capabilities. It's like Intel Iris. I think it's Xe now. Not sure. I'm not running any newer equipment yet, so but yeah, that I'm hoping that gives it a lot more to work with. I was hoping, I'm not sure if this is possible. I haven't looked into it, but maybe there's a way I can tell the system to dedicate some of those resources strictly for graphics. On my main computer, I don't know how it's now recognizing that it has 5 gigabytes of graphics card memory when before its most recent update, it's running Windows 11 or Windows 10. It had 4 gigabytes, and I thought that was because it physically had 4 gigabytes. But it did some recent update. Now it says it has 5, but whatever. I was hoping that, like, if I could find a way within Linux, and I'm not sure if this is possible, to dedicate maybe that 4 gigabyte memory card that I put in here. And I keep calling it a card. I'm sure I'm using the wrong terminology. But the 4 gigabytes of memory, the stick that I have that's 4 gigabytes, I was hoping that maybe I could somehow tell the system to dedicate that to just processing graphics and kind of create my own. This is horrible, wrong way of using terminology, probably, but like a virtual graphics card, maybe, and just make sure that the 16 gigabyte chip that I put in there is just used for other system resources. That way, maybe I don't run into issues where one is adversely affecting the other. I figured as long as I had 4 gigabytes of memory dedicated to processing graphics, that should be enough that when I'm doing some other things that are a little bit more memory intensive, maybe, and I don't know if any of this is possible. This is just me, running with ideas here. That that way when I'm doing some other things, that 4 gigabytes is not being messed with, and the system always has that as a resource for when it comes to doing things like playing games. But that's just kind of where I'm at. So this is me playing Lego Batman on old technology on the cheap, and I'm very thankful that we're at where we are right now. Who knows what the future has available for us? Hopefully, it's even better things to come. But for now, we've got just a ton of things that we can do, and because we're at a point where we have so many options for operating systems, I would say go explore. Don't feel like you're bound to one thing. In certain circumstances, maybe you are finding yourself way more in a narrow pathway because of what you need your computer to do. But if you're like me, where I was sticking with Windows just because that's what I was familiar with, and because I felt like maybe there wasn't another option. But if you're like me, where you're not heavily tied into the operating system, if there are alternatives, then maybe go out and investigate those. This current setup that I've got, again, it's an older computer, and I'm running Pop OS. I just recently did an update on it. It was initially running GNOME, which was not what I was hoping for originally. Just because I don't like the layout. It's not saying that it's bad. It's just not what I'm familiar with. I don't like that central dock in the center of the screen. I know it's just an aesthetics thing, but I'm just more comfortable with like a traditional start button with a start menu. I know even Windows 11 is starting to look more like that with the like that center thing that I just don't like. I like to go to my start menu, have it pop up, you know, hover over one option, and then have like a sub menu pop out over to the right, another list of options, and then maybe even more sub menus pop out from there. It just for me, it just seems like a way more natural way to navigate things than that central dock that you see at the bottom of the screen on a lot of modern operating systems. And the way that I have Cosmic set up on this seems a little bit more like that. GNOME didn't seem like that to me. KDE Plasma looks way more like what I would be more familiar with, but I'm there probably is a way to get it running on here, but I just don't know how well that's going to perform. The operating system that I'm running is Pop OS, and Cosmic was created by System 76, which is the company that created Pop OS. So all this is free, but I was just hoping that if I kind of went in that direction, it might be a little more, I guess, supported by the company that made it, and maybe more stable. Like I won't run in any problems. I'm not assuming that I'm going to be problem free. I'm definitely assuming that I'm going to run into hiccups here and there. But I'm just hoping that it makes it a little bit easier for me to transition into my change from Windows to Linux. So again, after all of that kind of nonstop verbal vomit, what I was just trying to say is this is the setup that I've got going on. It's an older Intel Core i5, I think quad core processor. I've now got it up to 20 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM. I'm running, I think it's the most current version of Pop OS, and because of that, I've got Cosmic as my desktop which is not KDE or GNOME. It's its own thing. But it seems pretty cool. I'm kind of excited about it, and I'm very excited to be playing Lego Batman, especially since I got it uh, for a very reasonable price. I think I'm very happy that we have things like Steam these days, because I'm basically paying to own. I don't know if that's the right term because I don't have a physical copy of the game, but I'm not. I'm not renting it in the sense that I'll have to return it anytime soon. I can always come back to it at any time. As far as I understand, it's part of my library. So right now I have it installed on this computer, but I don't have the biggest hard drive on this computer at the time. So if I decided that, hey, I need to free up some resources, maybe there's another game I'd like to install, I could always uninstall it. And if I ever want to come back to it because it's part of my digital library with Steam, as far as my understanding, I'm kind of new to Steam too. I could always just go back because I've purchased the, I guess, the digital rights, the digital ownership of it. I could always go back and reinstall it if I wanted to go back to it in the future, which is way. It's kind of a neat thing considering where I'm coming from as a renter from way back in the day when we had things like Blockbuster and you had to go to an actual physical store, and they might not even have your title there, but if they did, you paid. Like even back then, you'd pay like I think the games were like $3 or $3.99, something like that, and I think you got it for a night. I think they eventually rolled out the rental periods. I think they started out, and I might be remembering this wrong, but I think they started out where like if you rented it on the weekend, you got it for both days of the weekend, and then eventually I think they went to like 5 night rentals, to give people like the work week, because it takes a while to like play a game, especially if you're somebody like me who plays in kind of short spurts. Like I don't play unless it's something like StarCraft, but I don't sit down and play for extended periods of time. I tend to play in chunks, so I'll play like maybe Lego Batman. I'll play and get through the first period or segment of the game, and then I'll be like, well, that's good. That's. I feel like I've met. Well, I feel like I've fulfilled my gaming quota for the day. Not that I have something like that, but like a required amount of gaming. But like I've met my fill. Like I feel good about the time I've spent, and I've got other things that I want to do or whatever. But I wanted to make sure that I got this in because I'm having fun. I mean, it is a lot of fun. But if you are somebody like me, and you like that ability, back in the day when we had those games where you rented for a fixed period of time, you kind of felt like you were on the clock, and you better get these games completed before you had to return the game to wherever you rented it from, because then you would either have to pay more money to extend that rental period, or you just turned it in unfinished and maybe you never got back to it. So Steam is definitely an awesome option for us these days, and I'm really grateful that we have something like that. So yeah, I'll be gaming a lot more. My gaming library on Steam has like expanded quite a bit, just because the games are so cheap, and because I come from that era where $3 got you like a weekend at most, or maybe a week if I'm remembering that wrong. But now $3. If you look at Steam and they've got like some kind of weekend sale or something like that, it could get you the game, and it's now part of your library. That $3 In many cases, look at Steam right now. You'll find games on there that are $3 or less, and they're good titles like this one. So yeah, I know I ramble a lot on these videos. I don't know if you can tell that I'm excited, but I am. Like I just think it's an incredible time to be where we are right now, considering like where we were not that long ago. So if you stick with me, I plan to play this game out hopefully to its entirety, and I'll be doing a whole lot more. It's kind of a weird thing with me because I'll get like a Steam card for like $20, and I immediately enter in my code, get it into my Steam wallet, and then I'll start looking at games. And if I see a bunch of cheap games, it becomes hard to resist because when you see something on there that maybe it was something that you considered playing before, and it's suddenly like 90% off, and you can get that game now for under $5, it's very tempting. But I've extended my library quite a bit. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and cut the video here. If I could get my mouse to, let's see, how do I get off of here? Batcave, yes. And I'm not sure what's causing that static. I'm sure it's coming through in the video too. It might have to do with the older hardware that I'm running, although I'm only hearing it when I'm in some of these games on Steam. But I'll definitely investigate that and see what I can do to get it working, hopefully even better and sounding better. But for now, that's just kind of where I'm at. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video here. Just be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, I'll be back with more videos. Peace.